Okay, cool. So what's happening, people? Coming back with another video again. And this time I'm just going to share some insight into how it all started for me. Life wasn't great. And I think it's important to share this because, if you're feeling beat up, obviously I know I haven't had it the worst in the world, but, I was still mentally troubled. And, I'm just sharing this because we don't have to hold on to these things. It's good to let these things go. And, yeah, just to move forward, no resentment towards anybody, is all love. So just going in quickly. So like my first earliest memory, I was about 5 years old, and my parents had just broken up. And I remember one of my parents telling me to get ready, let's go out, etc. So my bags were packed by one of my other siblings. We got in the car, we drove down the road to where one of my other parents was living. And then we got out of the well, we didn't even get out of the car. We pulled up to my other parent, and then my one parent was like, "Get out of the car." And then my other parent was, as I was trying to get out of the car, they was preventing me from coming out of the car. So where one parent was telling me to get out, another was telling me to stay in, holding the door. And that's the first time in my life that I felt unloved by my parents. I felt like I was a mistake. And that was really hard for me. When I was living with one of my parents as well, there was a lot of violence. I remember my first day in primary school. I got into a fight with a guy called Mirza. Man like Mirza, So basically what happened there, I remember exactly. He told me, tell your mum to stop changing her lipstick because she's giving me a multicolored dick. So obviously I smashed his head in. End of school, my dad come to school and he was like, "How was your first day of school?" I was like, "It was great." Then he was just like, "Let me check with your teacher." So he checked with my teacher, and literally, I kid you not, when he came out of that classroom, from the entrance of my primary school right up to my front door, my dad was literally chasing me and kicking me up my backside the whole way home. So that was one experience. Oh, well, I said it's my dad. I wasn't meant to expose him, but here we go. Another experience was, I was learning to tell the time, and because I wasn't saying the time how I was told to say it, even though I was saying the correct time, I was still getting my shins smashed in with one of those boards you use to hang up coats. And don't get me wrong, there was good experiences as a little kid. I did travel, I did get to see things, so I guess that made it okay. When I was living with another parent, I was getting left out quite a lot. When things were bought for my siblings, I was being left out, and that's what ultimately led me to start committing crime, just to survive. I remember I bought my first pair of trainers in year 9. I remember showing them to one of my parents, and they were like, "Oh, where'd you get the money from?" And yeah, it was in a way a good day for me because I realized I can provide for myself. I've never been suicidal, just so but that's not to say that it was easy. Especially like, sorry, I'm just reading some of my notes. Yeah, so like my secondary school years, especially like towards year 9 onwards, was very turbulent for me. To be fair, like my whole life has just been moving between one parent and another parent. I've never been settled. Like towards my later secondary school years, I was more or less homeless, even though I had my parents' houses, both of them. I was always getting locked out, or I was always having fights with the other parent. So I was spending most of my nights on night buses. Now, obviously, luckily for me at the time, I had a few good friends that were, you know, happy to stay out with me and keep me company. And in all fairness, you know, it was pretty decent. You know, we was out, okay, robbing phones, but we was out surviving. You know, it was just what we had to do. You know, by now I've accepted my role as a rebel in the family, as an outcast, and yeah, I was just playing my role. Um, and you know, the thing that broke the camel's back for me was, one day I was 15. I went to one of my parents, and you know, I was like, you know, obviously my life's kind of not how I want it to go. I feel like I'm doing some things and I'm gonna do some more things that's probably gonna end me up in jail. And you know, my parent turned around to me and said, you know, I don't care, do whatever you want to do. If you go to jail, you go to jail. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. Let me just do what I'm doing then, because nobody cares. And yeah, that's just what it was. Obviously, I mean, growing up, I hated my parents, both of them, for the longest time. You know, I used to resent them, and it's only when I was in jail for a period of time that I started to realize, you know, actually I'm a little bit different. I don't think along normal lines. So, you know, I had to go through what I had to go through in order to think the way that I did, you know. And I was asking a lot of questions growing up, just about how things work and about God and everything like that. And you know, going to jail allowed me to answer these questions to a degree where I'm satisfied and have a decent understanding into how things work. So, you know, I come to realize that, you know, actually, you know, I have a different understanding to how the world works to my parents. So, given that in mind, realistically, they done the best thing for me that they could have done, which was give birth to me in the UK, which is obviously going to open me up to other opportunities that probably wouldn't have been available to me had I been born anywhere else. So for that, I'm grateful. I'm a grown man now, so I could do anything and everything that I want to do for myself and the people that I love. You know, and I'm just sharing this because I'm not gonna allow how I grew up to hold me back and stop me from doing what I need to do in this life. Neither should anybody else. The way I understand things, we're all human beings at the end of the day. So, you know, how I understand myself is more or less the same for everyone else. So if I can have the upbringing that I've had, even though I know it's been brief, you know, but it should give you a bit of insight into what it was like for me growing up. If I can grow up that way, then do 10 years, 9 months in jail, and still be out here trying to do the best for myself, then really, in my mind, not much people out there has got much of an excuse not to do what you want to do in this life. So yeah, man, let's just get to it. I'm here showing, like, you know, I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna do everything I can to get to where I need to get to. So yeah, man, stay tuned, like, subscribe. Hopefully, you know, something in there has been helpful for someone. And yeah, man, I just want myself to rise to the best level that I could possibly rise to, despite my beginning. You know, I love my parents, um, and yeah, I could say I've forgiven them. You know, I have better understanding now. So yeah, man, there's no need to hold on to nothing that's not helpful for me. It's just about moving forward and getting what is my birthright. So yeah, I hope you know, someone that watches this just decides, okay, let me not beat myself up too much no more and do what I need to do in this life as well. So yeah, man, any comments will be grateful. Share, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the journey ahead. More success.